Hello and welcome back to Fine Foods Food Review. It's the only place on YouTube where you can see me eating food, and I know that I have made a name for myself on YouTube, amassing the majority of my subscribers due to my noodle reviews, but today we're going to try something very, very different. Now, you might be able to read Korean, and if you can, well done to you. But I cannot read Korean, and I am intelligent enough to know, just from looking at this, that today we are eating a Korean dish called tteokbokki, which is also known as tteokbokki. And that's sort of a thing in Korea. They sort of mix and match their B's and their P's whenever they really feel like it. And it does make it quite confusing because sometimes you might have a tteokbokki and sometimes you might have a tteokbokki. And I think they're the same thing, but I'd need to check my sources about that. But talking of sauce, this tteokbokki is imbued with a wonderful Jjajang sauce, which is a black bean flavor. And I've had Jjajang men many, many times. It's my favorite variety of noodles because it has a really thick, meaty, rich sauce with a slight sweetness to it, maybe even a bit of spice. But today we are eating a vegan tteokbokki with Jjajang sauce. So there's no meat in this, and we'll just have to see if it compares to its carnivorous counterpart. And this is a bit of a weird recipe to make because usually when you're eating noodles, which are almost like the spaghetti of Southeast Asia, you get you boil them in a water, but with these tteokbokki, which are more like the penne pasta of South Korea, you do this in the microwave. So I filled it up right to the line and hit the microwave button, and here we have a wonderful hot bowl of Jjajang tteokbokki. So, when I first got these out of the microwave, I was concerned that the sauce might be a bit too thin, but I don't know if you can see in there, but it's really thickened up as it's cooled down. It looks like it's a really good Jjajang consistency. So we're gonna go in for our first bite and see how this goes. Now, one thing I really like about tteokbokki is the chewiness, because these are a similar shape to a penne pasta, but of course they don't have wheat in Korea, so it's made with a rice flour, and instead of being hollow, it's just a solid sausage of rice flour. So I'm just gonna really mix in the sauce, get this really coated, go in for our second piece of tteokbokki and see what we can analyze about the flavor profile. It definitely has that black bean richness to it, and if I didn't know any better, I would say that there was some sort of meat extract in there, but of course there isn't. This is 100% vegan. And I think what I'm gonna do, if it's cold enough, I'm gonna take a bite and I'm gonna slurp up a little bit of the sauce, because it's not so thick that it really clings on, but it's thin enough to take a little sip. So we're going to use that noodle technique on this tteokbokki. That was a really delicious Jjajang sauce. Tiny bit of spice in there, and I do wish that the sauce would soak more into the tteokbokki, because when you get onto the inside of them, they're a little bit bland. Oh, I was going to show you a cross section of the fact that there's no sauce, but now I've gone and dropped it and there is sauce on the inside, but perhaps we've discovered a new way to eat tteokbokki. Now that we have a better surface area to volume ratio, you get so much more sauce, and it's really good. So, how does this compare to jjajang noodles? Well, that is a good question, because one of my favorite things about eating noodles is that you can get a really big mouthful, and it's hard to get a whole load of tteokbokki in your mouth. Maybe if you use a spoon or a fork, which is probably the more appropriate utensil to use when eating this. And I'm not really sure why I chose to use chopsticks, but you know, I was feeling frivolous today. I feel like if you could get a really big mouthful of this, it would be very satisfying. But even still with two, it was good. I think it, I don't know. I still think I prefer noodles over tteokbokki, but I've got to give it to them. This sauce is really phenomenal, and for that reason, I'm going to give this a good 8 out of 10. I really like the sauce. Tteokbokki, it's a bit of a novelty for me. I've tried cooking it a few times before, and you know, it's usually quite a long process if you're not doing it in the microwave, but perhaps now that I've discovered the microwave trick, I might give it another try and try to make my signature Jjajang TOPOKKI, but that'll be a video of its own. I'm not going to do that now. So, that's it from me. Goodbye. That's it from this delicious Jjajang TOPOKKI. Goodbye. And don't forget to like, share, leave a comment telling me your favourite sauce that goes with the noodles, whether it's jjajang, whether it's a buldak sauce, or whether it's even a soup. Though I think that would be a bit of an avant-garde choice, because I said a sauce, not a soup, but that's up to you. So, goodbye. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.